Hey, taking a quick break to do a request video. I'm ever so, can't remember what I was going to say. Okay, so oh yeah, I'm ever so happy that people are giving me request videos. So here's one. This is about Bernie Sanders. Request video, what do you think of Bernie Sanders? And should he be our next president? Also, if he was elected, could he actually get any of what he wants done, or would Congress block everything he tries to do? From a Charlie Spencer. And then Will Burston goes, I would add Spencer's question, this one. Would Bernie be assassinated if he challenges the status quo? The way he says he will, I guess it would be easier for them to frame and impeach him, but it's an interesting thing to think about it. Okay. Do I think Bernie Sanders should be? Yes, I think Bernie Sanders should be our next president. He's the perfect guy. We're there. We hit it. We got a good guy this time. He's a guy who actually, cares about people. He's been in politics for 4 years, doing the right thing, good record. Doesn't take the donor money, like the other guys do. And he says the right things about how he's going to take out the bankers. Now the question is, is he like saying the truth? Like, does he really care? Yeah, I think you can believe that he really cares because of his record and because of what he's saying. Hillary Clinton is not talking like that. Oh my God, they're like a whole world's different from the Republicans. I saw a little bit where they said they asked like Jeb Bush in one of the debates something about what do you think about taxing millionaires over people who make over $1 million? And he's like, well, I think we should make more millionaires. And that's just a cop-out question. That's not the problem. To make more, you don't fix the problem by making more millionaires. When you talk like that, you're implying that there always has to be a group of people who feed the millionaires. If you really care about the people, you would talk about very bottom people, as though they're people too, and they deserve to live a good life. Not like, oh, if you work hard, if you're like one of the only people in the world who actually work hard, then you can make your $1 million. It's like, no. If you are like people are supposed to be and you work hard, then you should make enough to have a good life, and just like even the poorest person. And so that's the framework that he's coming from, the angle that he's coming from. Hillary doesn't display that kind of, she likes to defend her taking money from the Wall Street people. She took $100,000 like twice from Wall Street people to speak to him. He's taking a bunch of money. She should be disqualified just because of what her husband did, repealing the Glass-Steagall Act. And then to take money from them on top of that, obviously, where she is. What do I think he's different from Barack Obama? Well, he has a longer, better more solid track record than Barack Obama, and he's actually getting present for what he is. Barack Obama, for a lot of reasons, like in a lot of ways, became president because he was black, and that's what Hillary Clinton is trying to do. Using her whole being a woman as a reason to get into president. She did it last time, she's doing it again this time, and she beats it in because she knows that her track record isn't that good. I saw the Young Turks video. I didn't see the video, but I saw it up there where Madeleine Albright said that there's a special place in hell for women who don't vote for Hillary. It's kind of like an us versus them, women versus men. And it's so lame because there's already a bunch of other countries in the world who've had female presidents. Philippines, Sri Lanka, Chile, England, or Great Britain, India. It's not like it would be the most revolutionary thing ever for America to get a female president. Okay, it would be just as revolutionary if we got a Jewish president. We've never had a Jewish president, like Bernie Sanders. there's a lot more problems with anti-Semitism in the world than anti-womanism. Okay, like saying, oh, we need a female president. That would be so revolutionary. That's pittance. It's nothing compared to having a Jewish president. Since when did we ever have genocides against the women? It's totally different. All you're really saying if you get a female president and is you're having a generally kind of more balanced society in kind of like a vague way, but it doesn't really stand for anything, as far as I'm concerned. I guess you could be getting into a weird conversation. So I'll segue away from that and get back to Bernie Sanders. To have a Jewish president would be amazing, because there really is a lot of anti-Semitism. Anti-Muslimism now is pretty much the same thing as anti-Semitism was 50 years ago. Henry Ford was a big raging anti-Semite. He had his own newspaper where he self-funded newspaper where he just talked trash about the Jews. And, and a lot of, the Bush family did business with the Nazis, and Charles Lindbergh was, speaking out against the Jews, and you could get a lot of, drama, which would then lead to social change, social growth, and acceptance, just for getting a Jewish president up there. Okay, you're not going to get any drama for getting a woman president. You're not going to get all these men fucking women, goddamn women. No, you're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Like the Republicans against the women. No, it would be a lot more like that if you get Bernie Sanders. Now, the second part of this person's question, if he was elected, could he actually get anything done, or would Congress block everything he tries to do? Kind of like what's been happening with Barack Obama, because he's a black president. They all freak out, and they don't let him get away with anything, and they go after him for crazy things. They wanted to impeach him. They were talking about impeaching his ass for I don't even remember what it was. It was and then the Reverend Wright thing, a church he used to go to, and then the guy said some bad things about white people. I mean, they don't let that guy get away with anything. They never talked about They only talked about impeaching Bill Clinton when he got busted having sex with Monica Lewinsky. I mean, imagine if Barack Obama did any of that stuff. But so Barack Obama is the most vanilla Uncle Tom white black dude ever. He's not even black; he's half white, and they still freak out, and they still don't let him get away with anything. I mean, they don't let him do anything. They don't let him get away with anything, but they don't let him do anything. They blocked everything he does. They tried to repeal Obamacare 56 times officially. And, but now since they realize that everybody wants health care, they're like, oh, well, we still have to repeal Obamacare and replace. Now it's repeal and replace. Before it was repeal because they didn't want health care for everybody, and now it's repeal and replace because they want to stick with the we hate Obama, but keep the health care. Why? Why not just improve and say thanks for starting at Obama and then improve it? Because he was the one who was talking about giving free health care when he was running for president, and the Republicans weren't doing that. So whoever, the guy who's talking about doing stuff and then does that should get the credit for doing that, okay? Not for being the only guy who talks about it and you saying that's a bad idea. Let's be more like America and not like Europe, like what Marco Rubio was saying. And then when he finally gets it, you go, okay, your version sucks. We got to replace it. And then, so what's your plan? And then you become president, and then you take his, and then maybe you do a stupid little tweak to make it a little bit worse, and then you say, see, everybody thank me for giving it. It's it's 101 childish, bully punk piece of shit behavior. It's the same thing as sitting around, in the shade, you fucking loser, what are you doing trying to get that apple? And he finally gets the apple, and then I punch the kid in the face, and I say, look at the apple that I got. He was trying to make me stop getting the apple. Fucking crazy. So, if he was elected, would he get anything once done? Well, you see, Congress could try to block him and be mean to him and like be all nasty because of the whole anti-Semite thing, but that whole anti-Semite thing isn't strong enough, like especially amongst those people, like the rich people, banker people, people in power, that the most, like the Fox News people, that the most that they would try to block him for what he's doing, not for what he's not for who he is, and for what he's doing is really dangerous to them. I was listening to one of those guys, Wall Street guys, talking trash about, it was a clip from Young Turks talking trash about Bernie Sanders, saying that, and they're like, yeah, we all know that socialism doesn't work. It's like, where do you know that socialism doesn't work? Are you referring to Russia? Why don't you refer to all the countries in Europe who are better off than us, who are socialists? Like, how did that not work? It's like these people, it's if you're halfway educated, it's so clear that those people on Fox News are like retarded. They have no idea what they're talking about. That would be awesome if they should make those Fox News people, or maybe it'd be cool, in the future, people were smart enough, they, just to look at those Fox News people, like, if you're not as smart, like, if you want to show that you're smart, not just be one of these talking heads on Fox, like, they should have an actual YouTube channel where they say stuff so you actually know what they think. Because if you were to see what one of these Fox News people actually thinks, you'd see that there's just a total ignoramus bumpkin, like that dude, like on the Fox Business host. He was talking trash about the gay guy. And, he dresses up and he does like this. And you think, oh, maybe he's like part normal. But then he got arrested for starting a fight, getting drunk and fighting in an airport. And yeah, they're all, like, if a Fox News person says something mean to somebody, like, the lady in the background will be like, oh, no, you didn't. They're like kids. They're like grown-up kids. Anyway, so could he actually get anything done, or would Congress block? Well, we have like a Republican Congress, and they would, the stuff that he wants to do, free education for everybody, college education, and I don't know, I think that's a little bit too sloppy, financially sloppy. I think that's stupid. We should just put more, money, I guess, unless he's talking about something that's, if you're going to consider bike school education, yeah, give me money and all of it. But not just pumping more money into some stupid ass schools that don't do anything. But his idea about, expanding Medicaid, and then going after the bankers, and yeah, even this socialistic type stuff, making the government in charge. You can have a socialistic government like that if people are educated and they know what's going on. The reason that these Republicans are freaked out about Bernie, is because they're into this oligarchy, plutocracy, and so they think if it's the government controlling it, they're looking at Russia like, oh, it'll be this small group of governmental people controlling everything and like making themselves rich, and that's not what he's all about. I don't think they even understand that. Like, they don't understand the difference between right and wrong. Like, and I'm not talking about the Republican base. I'm talking about like the richer people. There's like this dichotomy. There's two different kinds of people in the world. They're in America especially. There's the Republican, the everybody fight for yourself. Kind of like Donald Trump embodies it perfectly. He was talking. I listened to one of his speeches, and he goes, the segment from the Young Turks they had, and he was talking about eminent domain, and they're talking about like the Keystone Pipeline and eminent domain, like where the government can just sequester your land for whatever they want, and they give you money. And Donald Trump's like, yeah, eminent domain's the only way that you ever did anything. So obviously you have to have eminent domain, like with roads and stuff. And those people who the government buys stuff from, they get filthy rich off of it. They get at least market value, and if they're smart, 2 to 3. And I was like, if they're smart, like Donald Trump is like, he's all about fucking over everybody. And the people who you can't fuck over because they're like connected, then okay, then give them extra. It's the totally two-tier. That's what he meant. If you're smart, like for the crappy people, market value, whatever I say market value is. And then if you're smart, the elite, we'll give them enough. We'll give them, 3 times more. I mean, he likes to spit this shit out all the time. He goes, what else did he say? Yeah, he's like, and I'm a big believer in breeding. I mean, he wants to, he's a freaking fascist. It's like he's trying to be a fascist, trying to say stuff, get away with saying things so that when he becomes president, then he can rewrite the Constitution so that he gets to be president for the rest of his life. So, yeah, so could Bernie Sanders actually get stuff done without Congress blocking? We have a really hardcore Republican Congress right now. And yeah, they would try to block, but the thing is, Bernie Sanders, see, it's not just a war of between people who care about poor people and people who just want to fuck over poor people. It's not just about, or get the rich people super rich and wealthy. It's not just about shit, I lost what I was talking about. I tried to over-explain myself. Let's start over. Yeah, could he get anything done? Yeah, it's not just about actually like trying to do stuff, but it's about the war of words and the war for public opinion. And Bernie Sanders is strong. I mean, he knows how to say strong things against bankers and do strong things against bankers. And if they were to say weird stuff to him, like we got to impeach him, he would stand up for himself and talk. I mean, I don't know what Barack Obama's problem is. You don't really hear him talking back at all when like Fox News, but he can't really because he's black. Bernie Sanders could get away with being just as loud and boisterous and angry and strong as Donald Trump, and then people, instead of going, "Oh no, scary," they go, "Oh yeah, he's our old white man leader." He'd be the oldest guy ever to be elected president. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump also, they're 69. But he'd be by like 6 years older than Reagan. But would Congress block? Well, no, Congress, they could see what's happening now. If you look at the big picture with the media, is people are starting to realize how ridiculous Fox News is. So if they really start to attack Bernie Sanders, and then Bernie Sanders really attacks them and explains exactly what's going on, and all the internet pundits like Young Turks explain exactly what's going on, and Bernie Sanders gets up there and explains more, they'll beat him up, and Congress will block everything he tries to do. But then 2 years after, we'll get a new Congress in. And, he will influence the populace to stop electing Republicans. He will make Republicans look stupid. They're already starting to look really stupid. So the short answer is no, they will not block everything he does because they'll get kicked out. But yeah, they will block everything he does until then. And then he won't get anything done, and then they'll use that as a reason for why he's the worst president in this whole generation. Oh my God. And then, the other guy, Will Burson, says, I would add to Spencer's question, would Bernie be assassinated if he challenges the status quo the way he says he will? Okay, he's not challenging the status quo. What he's doing is he's challenging the status quo of the media and the status quo of the rich elite in charge. But he's expressing exactly what the status quo wants. Right? And everybody wants, what was it, like 80% of Democrats wanted less wealth discrepancy, and even the Republicans want less wealth discrepancy. The Republican base, they're just stupid and they can't tell the difference. But they want that too. So, but would he be assassinated for challenging the status quo of the power elite? No, people can't. Like if he actually does stuff like. Well, no, he won't, because the president's really not that powerful. The only thing that would threaten the status quo, as you call it, the power elite, so much, the only thing that the power of a president can do just to threaten the status quo enough to make them actually want to assassinate him, and think that they could get rid of the whole problem by assassinating him, would be something related to warfare. Because it's the president who gets to send troops in to other countries. So if Bernie Sanders refuses to send any troops in, and they really want a war, they could assassinate him. But But I don't think that. I think that would be a really unlikely, because even in a condition situation like that, you'd have to be pretty evil. But that would be the only thing, and it's possible. But I don't think it's. I don't think the military industrial complex in America is that strong with public opinion. They're really only strong with the money, and it's kind of like it's like kind of like secret money and stuff. So I think they just slink. They'd be afraid to. If they assassinate them, they'd be afraid that they get busted or something. And they just, the worst thing that would happen if is because he would probably get somebody just as good as him as his running mate. I'm really looking forward to see who he gets as running mate, because I'm sure it's not going to be somebody conventional. And I don't mean ethnically or racially or the sex. I mean their record. They're going to be really, really liberal. They're going to be like a lifelong socialist, So, yeah. And I guess it would be easier for them to frame or impeach him. No, they can't. The thing is, they can't frame and impeach a 77-year-old guy who's been in public office that long. What are they going to bust him on? He didn't do anything. So they can't do any of that. It's an interesting thing to think about. Yeah. The thing to think about is, how will the power structure fight back when people start to take the power away from them and to tax the wealthy, and to see the whole media empire and the money that they make and all that tied in there crumble, and to see how they fight back and try to keep the money. Because you can kind of start seeing how media is switching from regular television over to the YouTube. Because every once in a while, not very often, I go over to my mom's house and we turn on the TV. She likes to watch the news, and so I see all of the drug commercials. Like, everything's drug commercial in between, and it's really creepy drugs. One commercial, couldn't even see the people's faces. It's just a bunch of silhouettes, and the music is really creepy. It's like a we're all sick music. Like, imagine listening to that music in your car. It'd be like, or if having that music in the background in like a movie, you'd be like, oh no, this is creepy land. It's like, we're a nation of sick people. Have you gotten thyroid cachexia yet? It's like, oh my God. Yeah, but you're starting to see those commercials on YouTube. And another thing is, they spend 60% of television is funded by the pharmaceutical industry. And if they're also funded, and the candidates are funded by the pharmaceutical industry, and then there's the military industrial complex, all those people in charge, they all know each other. Like the 400 rich donors, they're all the people in all of those different groups. And what they think is smart is by manipulating people, and it's so easy. If you look at what Donald Trump does, people are like puppets to be thrown around in marionettes. Like they're the bosses. And so when people grow up like that, they really have a low opinion of other people, and so that makes them terrified to give them any power, because they think that we'll all just kill each other. And I'd be scared to give the Republican base that power, but but that's not the representation of America. Most people are smarter than that. So, yeah, would he be assassinated? No. What'll happen is he'll just be the spearhead for us to figure out. See, we're getting smarter quickly, And so, as it crumbles, its power status quo crumbles, somebody like Bernie Sanders won't really be so much of this figurehead. He'll just be the first of many other people, and then the next guy will have to be just as liberal as him. And, it's kind of like right now we've gone so far over to the fascism side, we're just about to hit and bounce back and go over to the communistic side, just like the rest of the world. Greece voted communist. Canada got a communist or a socialist president. Portugal. We're all going there. So, yeah, so I think he will be our next president, and I think stuff's going to change a lot. He's going to change up. He's going to apply more taxes to the richies, influence that kind of stuff, less warfare, and that'll fund a lot of good things. Yeah, and to give college to everybody. yeah, if you spend the money right, that could do a lot, because there is a lot of money if you to spend. You can spend a lot of money if you just stop spending it on the other stuff, and spending it on good education to keep us technically educated is good. That's another subject, so I should just stop it here.